Hi, how's everybody? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7. I thought I'd jump on. It's a bit late, but thought I'd get the video done because it's been an eventful day. Obviously, it started actually the previous day, the night before. Finished watching the Manchester United Grimsby match. That was absolutely fucking funny as fuck, wasn't it? Great to watch that. The magic of the cup is well and truly alive. Newcastle United, obviously defending champions in that competition. The draw was made after the Grimsby game. I can't help but just smile when I see that match. I see him with his little Sabutio board, their manager, who must be walking in absolute eggshells at the moment. But less about them. We get to the cup draw, the first cup draw, the League Cup, Newcastle United defending champions, and we get Bradford City at St James's Park. And the club have probably already taken the money, but it's fine. I'm looking forward to the game. Can't wait. And I am relieved that we haven't got one of the bigger guns. We haven't got a Premier League team in there or even a Championship team because, a couple of years ago when we were in the Champions League last, again, which is the Newcastle United way, we got a horrendous, fixture list given to us, and cup draws weren't favourable. So we were going from one mammoth game to the next, The intensity and everything else, I think it was just too much. So I had my fingers crossed for a sort of lower league team in League One or a League Two side. I had wanted Barnsley for obvious reasons, personal reasons, and it's a cracking away did. Let's face it. When we were back down in the Football League and we were travelling down there, it was a great atmosphere. But several thousand Geordies filling out the away end, and Oakwell quite full. I was wanting them, so to get Bradford, I probably wasn't a million miles away. At home, it's ideal. It's an opportunity to maybe rotate and still progress in that competition because, again, as defending champions, it's imperative that we go as far into it as is humanly possible. We were protected, obviously, through these, nonsensical rules that they've got in now with the sort of European teams protected in the third round. We've been at the bad end of that before. This time we benefited, so it swings and roundabouts. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander and all of that. So Bradford City at home in the League Cup, I think, is a pretty decent draw, all things considered. So, we didn't get a Brighton, for example, somebody like that, a Wolves. Can you imagine with the Strand Larsen link, that sort of thing? Brentford with the Whistle link, we'll get to that in a minute. I wanted to avoid those teams, so I'm pretty happy with that draw. And then we go into today, another cup draw, a second cup draw, and this time it's the Champions League draw over in Monaco. And after what seemed like an absolute bloody eternity, we eventually got to the draw itself. It went through a soap opera, and people kissing each other's backsides, to be honest. There was a lot of unnecessary things. I always think, get the draw done and then chat afterwards, but that wasn't to be. But they did get to the draw, and again, I was looking at it from a perspective of let's minimise travel whilst getting some really big names of European football heading to St James's Park, and our fans heading out to their stadiums as well. That was my philosophy, and pretty much I think we got what I would have wanted. I said beforehand I would have liked to have got all three of the ex-Bobby Robson teams to, for obvious reasons, for Barcelona, for Sporting and for PSV. And I wasn't disappointed, really. I got 2 out of 3, and 2 out of 3, that ain't bad. So happy with that. The draw in full, which was made a little bit earlier. So we got Barcelona, and again, that would have been probably my number one pick, at St James's Park. If that could be the first game, of the fixtures under the lights at St James's Park, absolutely sweet as. Can we get another 3-2? That would be absolutely and utterly great. We've also got Paris Saint-Germain, which is one I wanted to avoid because we've obviously played them recently. Undefeated in them 2 games, and we were robbed away to PSG. But the current holders of the European Cup, we will travel to their backyard to play them. PSV, like I touched upon before, for the Bobby Robson thing, it's spot on. It's brilliant for me. Personally, my preferences. Then we got Benfica, Leverkusen, who I remember was playing in years gone by. I remember Sholam Yobi and Lamana Loa playing away against Leverkusen, and the return match as well was the Shearer hat-trick one, wasn't it? So good positive memories there. Not so much with Benfica in the previous one before, but we won't touch upon that one. Athletic Club, so another Spanish opposition for Newcastle United. And Union to me. I mean, I've seen all these different fancy pronunciations. You know, I don't do fancy pronunciations, so we'll of say Union of Belgium, aren't they? So at Google Air Stadium, it'll be a little bit of an eye opener, I think, for most Newcastle United fans. You know, in the luxury of St James's Park and some of the stadiums that we visit regularly, you know, in the Premier League, to go to somewhere like that will definitely be an eye opener. And heard it's quite a hostile crowd, and we've obviously also got Marseille, which again with recent history with, but again probably not the nicest place to be able to visit as an away football supporter. It's quite intimidating and it can be quite nasty, and that side of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. And I've already got some sort of pencil marks behind it for possible away days and trips as well. And I know some of the other lads from Magpie 24/7, one of which is based out in Belgium, has definitely got their eyes on one or two of those games as well. So happy with that. I really, really am. The last thing you would have wanted was in Newcastle United flying to, like I say, Kazakhstan or somewhere far-flung, all the travelling in between, you know, weekend Premier League games, midweek Cup games, midweek Champions League games. The last thing you want to be doing is flying so far away, because injuries, fatigue, and again, it impacts training. And we saw this last time in the Champions League. Eddie Howe was saying it was literally game, recovery, and that's how it went. And there wasn't much time to work on things, you know, in training. So I think all things considered, that is a really, really good draw. It is a tour of the sort of popular names of European football, and I'm personally quite happy with that. Let me know what you think down below in the comments about the draw. Was there anybody else who you would have liked to have got? Like I say, I touched upon the fact I would have liked Sporting maybe rather than Benfica, just again because of the Bobby thing. Nothing really more apart from that, but I'm happy. I'm easily pleased. Bradford one day, Barcelona and the likes the next day. I'm happy, easily pleased. And speaking about easily pleased, it has been nice. Again, we had the football on Monday. We've had the cup draws to be focusing on something else apart from bloody transfers. But today, in amongst the information leaking out about, you know, who we're going to get, what we're going to do, that side of it, you know, you're watching the draw as it goes on, and you're like, yes. And then news about Newcastle United bid being made for a player, a striker, out of the blue, out of nowhere. That's a bit dark in here today. I'm just waiting for new lights to come for the office. But, you know, to get a sort of left field name was very, very refreshing. We've obviously all had had enough sick to the back fucking teeth of the Isak situation, and hopefully this move plus the move for Johan Wissa will finally mean that Swedish rat is allowed to move on and get his dream move at Liverpool. And I hope it goes absolutely fucking swimmingly for him. And it's just a shame that he won't be coming to St James's Park this season unless we get them in the cup, which I wouldn't be bloody surprised, because you know it's just one of those little subplots that's written into football that you wouldn't be surprised if we were to get Isak in Liverpool for a cup game. You wouldn't be surprised at all, would you? But I'm more wanting to concentrate on the incomings and the players that do want to play for Newcastle United. Now, Johan Wissa, I've been critical of him and his decision making and how he's reacted to his current employers. I don't think it looks particularly good, and it doesn't react and put him in a glowing light. I mean, I'm talking about lights. I'm getting a bit obsessed with that, but it doesn't put him in a good light from what he's done with Brentford. But again, not in the squad, not likely to be in the squad at the weekend, and I think a move is edging ever closer. And if we can get in Avissa and as well our new German target, I'll get to in a little bit, then Isak will be allowed to move on if Liverpool stump up the money that is required. If not, he will sit there and rot for at least the next 4 months and just have Sweden to play for. That's if he doesn't decide all of a sudden he wants to play for Brazil or Germany or somebody else like that, if he gets the tit on with the Swedish lot as well. But you know, if he's got to be made a scapegoat, if we've got to make a point with a player, if we've got to show them who holds the cards, then that's what we've got to do. But I think common sense will prevail. I think a deal will be done between Liverpool and Newcastle, probably as late as the transfer deadline day, and he'll move for north of 130, 135 million pound. And yeah, wash your hands, get rid, good riddance to bad rubbish, and yeah, you live and learn, don't you, in this life. But moving on to much more important news, apart from Isaac, sick of the back fucking teeth for speaking about him. And then news come out today. It was literally broken by, like I said, Keith Downey. Sky was all over it. And then you had obviously Fabrizio Romano talking about skip rats and all that. He gets in that lad where shit wouldn't, to be honest, doesn't he? But yeah, literally everyone and the mother. Ben Jacobs, you name it, they were talking about it all of a sudden, all at once, and then that's not been even whispered in the previous weeks. I mean, I've seen bits of, I think I saw something on the Magpie channel where they were discussing players that, you know, they would like us to go after, and his name was mentioned in that conversation, but he was literally just on a list of I would like or we should look at type things. Nobody was saying, we're going to be after this one. But it seems a secret delegation flew out from Tyneside into Germany to speak to his club Stuttgart and agree a 65 million, that's a club record transfer for Nick, and I want to try and pronounce this, Walter Mede. Well, we'll just call him Nick for the time being, because Nick's an absolutely great, easy to say name. But yes, Nick Walter Mede. I've pronounced that several different times, several different ways, several different times to several different people already. So it's fingers crossed that I've got somewhere near that, and I don't want to, insult him. But he's a German international. Obviously, did well for the under-21s, didn't he, when they got through to the latter stages, maybe semi-final or something. I can't remember exactly, but did well for the under-21s for Germany. He has a couple of caps as well. And I was second German international signing, which is nice, which is different because it's a market we don't often explore. But in saying that, the likes of Bayern Munich were after him, and Bayern Munich, with regards to German talent and scooping it up, don't normally do badly, do they? At the end of the day, I think they offered around about 50 or 55 million euros for the player. That wasn't deemed enough by Stuttgart. They didn't really want to sell him to a Bundesliga rival, so hence the move to Newcastle United. And I think it'll be an absolutely brilliant and astute signing. It's certainly one that gets the juices flowing, piques excitement, and I think it's certainly more of a. I think it's a more calculated risk than what a Strand Larsen is. I know Strand Larsen has got goals in the Premier League. He's done extremely well for Wolves, but Wolves are reluctant sellers, and I think he's got lots and lots and lots of potential, to be honest. I mean, he's not the quickest from what I've seen. I might be wrong. Shoot me in the comments if I'm totally and utterly wrong. But he's definitely a presence up top, powerful. Like say 6'6". An absolute behemoth up top, so a focal point. He likes the crosses. I think he'll suit the way that we, play. He's got good, quick feet for a big man as well. So little flicks and tricks, setting people up, making space, creating space for others. And I can see him working up there, holding the ball up. And you look at the likes of Alanga last season with his partnership with Chris Wood. You could see a similar sort of thing happening there. And I do think he will get goals. If he doesn't hit the ground running straight away and start scoring left, right and centre, I think we will be patient with him, because I think you can see the talent that he has, the potential that he has. And again, if Eddie Howe's targeted him and he thinks he can do the job, I'm 1,000% behind Eddie Howe, 1,000%. The man has absolutely worked like a saint, because I think I would have been spitting blood over this summer with the whole Isaac fiasco, but he's done brilliantly in my opinion. He really, really has. He represents the club, the city, the players ever so well. And I think, I think this will be another really astute bit of business. At the end of the day, since the PIF came in and took over from Cashley, they haven't really got much wrong with regards to transfers, if you ask me. The one that I get thrown at when I say that to people matches and stuff, is the Chris Wood one. But again, I don't think he actually did that bad, because where we were at the time, in a relegation dogfight, balls deep in it, he was brought in to be that buffer man, so we could play the ball long, hold it up, bring others into play, and get us out of trouble. And then he was always going to be sold on, and that is what he turned out to be. But every single signing, your Trippiers of the world, the Sven Botmans of the world, Brunos of the world, Sandro Tonali, winner after winner after winner. So even when we do spend significant sums of money on these players, even Isak, yes, it's turned sour, but we've had several good years out of him, and we're going to sell him for what? Double, 2.5 times the amount that we bought for him. So that's good business, and it's also going to give us that headroom with PSR as well. So moving forward in future windows, that's going to take pressure off, and it's going to mean that we don't have to cash in on a Bruno or a Tonali or a Lewis Miley or somebody else like that, So again, it's another tick in the box as far as I'm concerned. It's been a great summer, and if we do get in Visser, which I do expect that he will do before the deadline, I think all the signs are pointing towards that. The likes of Crepo think that he'll be through the door as well. If we can get in Visser, if we can get in the Nick, the German lad as well, we've got 2 quality target men up top. That Eddie Howe likes 2 main strikers, and then he likes to use Anthony Gordon as his 3rd striker. So I think that would be enough to get us through, touch wood, as long as we don't get any sort of major injury issues. We've then got pretty much 2 players at least for each position across the park, which is good, which is great. It means that we can rotate game to game, midweek to weekend, and hopefully the quality is maintained because of that better balance in the squad. And like I touched upon just now, with Isak out and these 2 lads in, I mean, you need to whisper it, but I think it's actually been a really good summer. Yes, it's been stressful. Yes, it's been far from plain sailing. But when you consider the business that we've done and the money that we've paid back from Ramsdale through to Malik Chow, moving forward, quality throughout. Jacob Ramsey, you can't say that he's not an upgrade and an improvement on a Sean Longstaff, who's can't even get into the Leeds team at the moment, and then you're looking at Miguel Miron's replacement with Anthony Elanga. He's so quick, and by the time he settles down and gets used to things and his surroundings and his new teammates, again, I think Anthony Elanga will be a astute, clever piece of business. But all in all, we've done well, and we bought some good youngsters as well for the future also. So everything considered, even though my voice is still a little bit croaky from Monday, plenty of shouting, plenty of singing that got done. I'm happy with that. I'm just relieved that we've been able to get the forward reinforcements through the door before it was just too late. Reports suggest that he's actually on Tyneside this evening to begin his medical. That'll be completed tomorrow morning. And you just don't know if it gets rushed through, pushed through quickly. There's a chance he might be involved even against Leeds. And although that sounds a bit ridiculous because he hasn't had any training time with his teammates, go back to the Isak debut against Liverpool, of course, and he was thrown in to the Lions Den, wasn't he? And he didn't do too bad. He got himself a goal. He should have had another goal. He put the cat amongst the pigeons. It's that unknown factor as well that can sort of work to your benefit as well. Because we're so low on numbers, Gordon suspended this weekend. We've got a couple of injuries. Not as bad as what was first feared, but we do have injuries going into this game. We're going to struggle to sort of really pick somebody to go up top. It might be an Elanga playing out of position. It could be that Willa Sula's trusted to start the game. I'll see what Eddie Howe does. It would be great if we could get Nick on the bench. Yeah? So if we could get him on the bench, I'll get him starting. I'd be all for that. I think you've got to go for it against the likes of Leeds. No disrespect to Leeds, because obviously a really, really good club, passionately supported. But if we had to have a successful season and a successful campaign, we're no worse off points-wise compared to the fixtures from last season to this. We've 1 point on the board, but we could do with a win just to take the monkey off our back and to relax things going into the first international break. Can't believe it's already an international break. It's absolutely shocking. I don't like the international breaks. I'd much rather, after all the summer that, there's been no domestic football, I'd much rather now we have a couple of months of just week in, week out games and keep the international dates, push them back to later in the calendar, because it's, as I said before, it's like comparing a T-Rex with Barney the fucking dinosaur at the end of the day. There's no comparison. Yes, the dinosaurs. Yes, it's football. But I'd rather watch Newcastle United have, you know, play, I don't know, Shields or something like that. Or Spenny. I'll go Spenny as a Spenny lad. But I'd rather play them and watch them than watch an England game, which is just a bit shite. I mean, it's great for the lads who's going to get the call-ups from the Newcastle United camp, the likes of Dan Burn, Gordon. He'll get the game despite the red card situation. It's great from that perspective, but in the big scheme of things, I'll always prefer to see Newcastle United play. I think most people watching this video will be exactly the same as well. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to park it there. Obviously, any news, any pictures, any signing, spotting in the area out like that, we'll bring it to you on Magpie 24/7 and across on Magpie Ultras. If you can subscribe to both pages, that really does help a whole load. Big plans for both brands, and to sort of branch them out and to be looking at things from different angles going into next year. So that's really, really good, really, really positive. Yes, getting slowly but surely set up around here as well. You've got a new bit of office studio that's going to be coming. I've been working on it now for a little while, but I'm still waiting for lights. I'm still waiting for bits and bobs like new flooring, some extra stuff for the shelves, green screen so we can change things up, different backgrounds, different things. We'll still be doing the different types of videos out in the car, vans after the game, first thoughts, view from the vehicle. Used to be view from the van, but you know, times move on, don't they? But yes, new lighting to come into the studio, and then I'll be able to do proper videos, set up, same me, same everything else, just a little bit aesthetically better for everybody, and so on. And just going to finish as well, I'll be on Sky Sports News on Monday as well. So if you see me on there, if you hear me on there, and because I think it's going out on Twitter and stuff as well through Sky Sports, a bit about the transfer, my thoughts on transfers. It might be Visa, it might be, I don't know, it could be somebody else, totally and utterly out of the blue, or could be out of the dark with how it is at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to be appearing, giving my 2 pennies worth in on potential transfer shenanigans at Newcastle United for what it's worth. So appreciate your support on that one. Hopefully I've got my voice back fully by then. It's my own fault, as I've been told a few times. We're just getting a bit too carried away into all the fun of the fair against Liverpool at St James's Park. Well, totally and utterly enjoyed it, to be honest. Yes, the result was, it felt like a kick in the nuts, to be honest, at the end. But we're used to that. These games often do sway one way, then sway the back. But I thought this was going to be the day. Certainly when we pulled it back to 2-2, I'm like, we're going to nick this one. We're going to nick this one. So to get the sucker punch right at the end, it was bad. But I feel nothing but immense pride for the performance, the display of the lads, the full commitment to the cause after everything that's happened with Isaac. It felt very, very satisfying, to be honest. At the end of it, we just need to go to Leeds, get some points, and just to calm everything back down, and then get these signings over the line. That sounds like a plan, and that sounds like a great point to leave it at then. So, as I touched upon before, subscribe to all the socials. Over 214,000. It's absolutely fucking mind-blowing. It's going up at such a rate, and I appreciate everybody's support for myself, Kyle, the rest of the lads at Magpie 24/7 and Magpie Ultras as well. And if you can, subscribe also to our friends on the other channels down below that we all the time are promoting, like Magnificent Mags. Again, I'll put the links down below in the video description area, so if you could click on them as well and give them a follow and help the entire Newcastle United community, that would be brilliant also. Absolutely spot on. So yeah, helping the likes of Magnificent Mags always as well. Yeah, that's what it's all about, sticking together, looking after each other and being in that community. So thumbs up, comment, subscribe, take care, and I'll speak to you later.